First, I want to thank Debbie and whoever helped her put this together so we could actually enjoy each other's company for a few moments. Before terribly long, I think we will be back in the parish hall for coffee hours, although this is awfully pleasant in this weather.
This is nice.
Yeah, this is nice. Bruce, you have been with us, as you said, for 6 years, and I appreciate what you said about our friendship and our working partnership. I feel exactly the same way. I've worked with a lot of clergy and lay people over the years, and this is as good as it gets. There have been some just as good. It's not the very best, but it's one of the best, clearly. So I want to thank you for that. And we got to thinking, what in the world do you do for someone that's been a priest 55 years? How do you say farewell in the midst of
Get him out of here.
and in the midst of COVID, what do you do about, we did manage, the timing is great so we could have this reception. But what do you do in the way of something as a memento of our time together? And after 55 years, I've only been doing it 43 or so, and I can tell you, you've got a drawer full of crosses, so you don't need a new cross. That's a good priest gift. You don't need any artwork for shrinking walls, where you're going to have to give up some of your artwork already. If you wanted a book, we want you to pick your own. So we thought about a gift certificate so you could buy books, because I know you're going to read. You always read a lot. Now you have a little extra time. But what do you buy in that, or give someone in that case? So what we decided was we would give you some symbols of our time together, and we provide you a treasure chest of those goodies, okay? So, and it works this way, okay? You hold that part. Don't need this quite yet. And it's a treasure chest of things that we wanted to provide you to honor your ministry in the best way we could imagine. The first of them is that, it being COVID time and all, we want to put this mask in a box. So it will be locked away and you don't need it anymore. Now, this particular mask is really appropriate for your time in Amelia, because you know who made this? Margie made. This is one of the hundreds of masks that Margie made for us and for the community. And this particular one I chose on purpose because, as you will see, it's a rusty pickup truck with an American flag in a green field. That's Amelia, if anything on the planet is, okay? So there you are. Nothing wrong with any of those things. Green fields, flags, or okay. So we needed a base for you to work with. So that's the base of your treasure chest. And now we're going to fill it with some other treasures, okay? First thing up is goat. Okay. So what we did was, again, you don't need tchotchkes. You don't need things. You need to know that your ministry has touched other lives and will continue to. And this will, because Bruce and Kayanne, you are deeply loved and will be terribly missed, but you have earned this new phase of your life with your family. In deep gratitude and affection for 6 years of loving, devoted ministry at Christ Church, these gifts represent our compassionate leadership in our midst and your generosity of spirits, and how you did it all without butting heads with us, your kids, and this goat is for you. And it's with love from your Christ. You arrange these as you wrote, okay? And this is an ERD goat that has been given in your name and Kayanne's. To go somewhere in the third world, provide a stable source of food and earnings, they say, give sustainability, as goats are hardy, reproduce quickly, and can be raised in many climates to produce staple items such as milk, cheese, and manure for farming. You have now created the opportunity for someone else to become a goat herder somewhere else.
Wonderful, okay? Wonderful.
Now, always important part of Christ Church's pecking order, and never to chicken out to challenges when you're needed. It is our honor that someone will be able to start a new flock of real chickens and find a new way of making a living somewhere in the third world. Chickens for ERD provide a sustainable income, a source of food and income, help train families and communities groups to raise poultry and sell surplus stock and eggs in the marketplace. They start a business as well as feed their families. Okay, now this one's a little more complicated because it's delicate. This is from 10,000 Villages, which is another thing I love about taking care of people in the world, because it's a pig from 10,000 Villages, and it's made in Chile, And if you look closely, there you go, it has 3 legs. It's a 3-legged pig. Okay.
Ah,
And there is a story, but since I'm telling all these other stories, I'm going to let him figure out the story, and he can tell you at the end if he wants to. But it's the Chanchito story, a tale of good fortune, about why being a 3-legged pig is a valuable thing. Okay?
we'll take all their words for it.
Okay. But the reason we gave you a pig, was that we love to be pigs and keep you to ourselves. But someone will now have a chance to raise real pigs for a new life. Help families break the cycle of poverty. Offer families financial security and access to food by training them to raise and sell pigs which reproduce quickly and are ready for market in just 6 months, which I'd forgotten. So.
Wow.
All right. Down you. Now, this is also fair trade handmade, fair trade from 10,000 villages. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. How fortunate that you did not have to ride a bicycle to get to work at this church. But this gift will mean that someone will now be able to get to school or to a job when they could not before, giving them a new opportunity for a greatly enriched and more meaningful life. Make home visits easier for community volunteers, along with providing those other things about jobs and schooling opportunities. Help community volunteers in rural areas cover great distances, reach more homes, and spend more time with children and their families. A bicycle in the third world is a totally new lease on life.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
you know, you ain't got cars, you ain't got gas. Okay. Now, this is out of the private collection of Virginia Stone. And for a librarian to give up a book is really, really something. And this one is real special to both of us because we both remember the Tiny Golden Book series. You remember these? You read them, got them read to you, read them to your kids and grandkids. This one is, look out, baby bears, here he comes. And I'll let him figure out the story. But this is a tiny little book for you in your treasure chest because you were a great teacher and educator in our midst, and your love of our youngest members shone through in all that you did at Christ Church. And the affection you have for the Sunday school has always really struck me. And their read on this is nourish their young minds. Help kids develop thinking, communication, social, emotional, and motor skills through caregiver support and learning groups that promote healthy eating and family play.
Wow.
Okay. Each of these is a gift to the ERD. I think you figured that out along the way.
Yeah.
So, if you get thirsty on the way home, you're safe, but it really goes in your treasure box. Okay? Remembering that you are among us as a sacramentalist, both as a celebrant of the Eucharist and especially with this gift of clean water, a baptizer. We present you that as your symbol of your time here. But what it does in the third world is provide families with life's most basic necessity. Endure access to the most crucial element of health and resilience, clean water, which prevents the spread of illness and deadly disease. And as you know, water is becoming the most critical thing in almost every international ministry. So,
Yeah.
now, this is complicated because it's a two-parter, but it's all one thing. These tools, you can also use these in your Zen garden. If you have one of those little tiny Zen gardens at the house, okay, there are tools and there are seeds. And it's particularly appropriate that these are sweet peas because, you know, you're sweet to us. And this particular collection is Sweet Dreams Mixed Colors. So we wish you sweet dreams.
The interesting thing is that one of the activities that Kay's been participating in is planting a garden at Kensington.
How wonderful. Now she can have her own sweet peas.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just as you planted seeds of knowledge and faith in our midst and in this farming community, someone will now have the tools, training, and seeds to start out as a farmer in some distant land and find a new life of hope. Okay? Because they send the seeds and the tools together with training, and you just create new farmers all the time. Okay. Communities can thrive with seeds, climate-smart agricultural training, and quality farming tools to cultivate a sustainable food supply. They'll need more than we just gave you. Now, you don't get my basket, but he does get this paperwork.
Yeah, and you're going to need that.
Yeah. Well, I'll hang on to it. And then also from 10,000 Villages, part of the reason there's a lot of 10,000 Villages is this Thursday I started my first shift as a volunteer after a decade of going there all the time and saying, I'm going to come and volunteer as soon as I get retired. So now 6 years into retirement, I'm actually getting around to it. But I'll be there twice a month working there at 10,000 Villages, which is, I said, is handmade fair trade, a really remarkable place that provides care.
And where is it, Michael?
It's in Carytown. It's all over the country, but the one here is in Carytown, and it's a marvelous thing because almost all the work on the floor and I help do boxes of shipping. All the work on the floor except for a couple of paid people is all volunteers. So when they go into the third world, and they go into the third world and create businesses in small communities and encourage people to do trades that are normal to or historic to their culture, or are finding ways to resource materials that they never used before and recycle things. And so, but the money all goes to the artisans because they don't have to pay us to sell it to you on the floor for all the volunteers. This is a peace symbol because you've been an advocate of peace in our midst and a peaceful presence for us. And it comes with a little saying, peace. It does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. And you have always been a non-anxious presence, and we appreciate that. On the back, it explains a little, life is too short to read. It's a paper, it's a bookmark. Life is too short to read books without proper bookmarks. Use this functional art to pursue your, that's hard, it's smeared. To pursue your adventures, find the places where you got lost, or gift it as a memento to shared passion for reading. Don't gift this. This is not regiftable. This is, you don't have to keep it in the box because you need it as a bookmark. It is made by the skillful hands of Kenyan artists in Kisumu, Kenya, using recycled copper wire.
Wow.
That's the kind of work they do.
Wow.
So, I know you'll have a little more time for reading, and we want to encourage you to continue that lifelong pursuit as well. It's hard to imagine how we do this without you. But I'm happy to say that you already heard that Martha Jenkins will be joining us at least one Sunday a month through the summer and hopefully into the fall. And I have another priest lined up who is going to tell me the end of this week whether he, and it's a he this case, is available to us for the other week, at least through the summer. So through the summer, we think we are covered, in all likelihood, for Eucharist all the time. So thank you so much. Thank you. Ray, you want to say anything?
You've been here for 6 years, and it has been, I think, a very large privilege for us to have been part of your family as well as you being part of ours. And you will never be forgotten and will always be in our prayers and thoughts, you and KN both. Thank you for being with us.
Well, you all will be as well. And thank you. This is a perfect gift because it's personal and shares with people who have some needs elsewhere and around the world. And that's perfect. And I say thank you. It's great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Now let's eat some more.
Perfect. Thank you.